Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Francis. It is my delight to welcome all of you and to welcome all of you who are watching at home. You've just heard Fum Fum Fum, which is a Spanish carol arranged by Evelyn Larter, played by Bienvenido, Yangco. So welcome, everybody. We're in the second Sunday of Advent, and this is the last night of Hanukah. So we'll be lighting our candles in just a moment. I want to introduce our musicians. They are Terry O'Hara on piano, and we have Steve and Kristi Nebel joining us today. And on platform with me right now is Bev Holland as our practitioner, and Reverend Matthew Breck will be leading a meditation shortly. So we'll start with our opening prayer, and that will be followed by a meditation, and then we'll do our Advent candle lighting.
Good morning. I invite you to close your outer eyes with me and just know the truth that today is a day that has never gone before, will never go again. It is the present. It is the present in which we live. And I'm grateful for this time that we have together, which is a gift. And I know today, with the sun peeping in and out of the clouds and the warmth coming and going, that it is the beginning of the Advent season, that it is the advent of the rest of the year, which means from the 21st until the 21st of June. The rest of the year, because this is the time when the sun begins to come back after the 21st. I'm recognizing all of those beautiful animals and little birds that live all throughout the year outside, that they have no reason to toil, they have no reason to complain. They are just in the moment, just as we are. So I'm grateful for today. And I say thank you, God, and so it is.
You know, I want to start meditation this morning by telling you something. Oftentimes I'll go through my day and I'll take a moment and look at nature. And in my heart I'm thinking, I love my personal God so much. And sometimes I feel like I get a little tap on the shoulder that says, will you let me love you? It's as if the divine is speaking to me to remind me to allow love in. And so this morning I want to go into meditation with that thought in mind. And I invite you to place your feet flat on the floor, to allow yourself to take a nice deep breath, allowing that oxygen to infuse and reignite the beating of your heart. And as we breathe into this quiet moment, I invite you to bring a picture into your mind. You're standing in a beautiful field. And in this field, I invite you to lie down on the earth. To lay down on the earth. And simply surrender into the earth. Feeling the presence of the earth underneath your physical body. Feeling the vibration of the earth. and just simply let go. Just surrender. Breathe in the substance of life. Allow whatever troubles, whatever you have on your mind that doesn't serve you to just simply fall away. Moving deep into the earth, where she will take it up and love it and transform it. And I invite you to move into the synchronistic pattern of giving and receiving. As you give love to the earth, to nature, to the entire cosmos, I invite you this morning to make room so that you may be loved and supported in every single way. It's just there waiting for you. Will you let yourself be loved by the divine, by the entire cosmos? Just lying there on the earth, feeling that vibration move through you, support you, lift you up, reawaken you, and allow everything to fall back into alignment and a clear perspective. Let's just breathe this in right now. Noticing how good it feels to surrender into this experience. And as you allow this experience to resonate within you, to move through you and as you, let's bring this experience into our heart space and into our minds, into our soul, into our consciousness. And let's allow it to permeate and resonate. And let's bring it back to the room. So I invite you to breathe in deeply, allowing yourself to be awakened, renewed and restored. Breathing together. And when we're ready, we come back to the room and we open our eyes. And this week I invite you to allow yourself to be loved by the divine, by the entire cosmos, by the intelligence that is everything. May you be blessed, may you be well, prosperous and healthy, and so it is.
They know they're going to survive. The birds of winter, the birds of winter, they get by. Up north is the raven, I don't know how he survives. With the blowing snow and no trees to go to, what keeps him alive? Ravens, they never worry, oh no. Raven, he knows he'll get by. The birds of winter, the birds of winter, they get by. Like a geese in a V formation over an urban sky. Dig up the sides on a warm climate. Just look at them fly, look at them fly. Down here there are ducks and herons. Oh, grow the raven's best friend. On one leg in the mudflats are perched in a tree. They're quite at home in a storm. The birds of winter aren't worried. They know they're going to survive. The birds of winter, the birds of winter, they get by. The birds of winter 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 get by. They survive. Thank you.
Oh, wow, thank you. Steve and Kristi Nebel. Thank you. So a few announcements. I want to invite Bev to come up and talk about the workshop we're doing in January, but I also want to start with our New Year's Eve event. We have the Burning Bowl at 6 o'clock, which is our traditional service of release. And then at 7 o'clock, we're going to have a Brazilian jazz concert with Anjali Silva and her band. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have wine and hors d'oeuvres, and the tickets are $50. And it's a 4-member band that'll be here. They're all great musicians. So watch for that on the website, and you can get your tickets there. And I'm going to ask Bev to come up and talk about our workshop in January.
Workshop is January 15th. It's a Saturday. And it really is a good way to start off the year because it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. That's a book written by Florence Scovel Shinn many years ago, but it's very applicable even now. So she looks at life as a square, and the 4 quadrants are health, wealth, love, which is relationships, and creative expression, which is work or whatever your avocation is. And so we'll explore ways that we can get what we need and want in each of these 4 quadrants. And my goal is that you will take home with you something that you can start the year with that makes you just jump start it. So, thank you.
So I want to say we're, of course, having holiday services. We have a Christmas Eve service at 6 o'clock on the 24th. That's a Friday night. And in addition to the New Year's Eve service. Then on January 2nd, we have our traditional white stone ceremony. So you remember that, where you get a download from God on that day for your theme for the year. So that'll be happening on the 2nd of January. So we're excited about what's coming up, and there'll be more classes as well. As this week is my planning week for the first quarter of the year, so we'll be announcing all of those new classes soon. And just watch our website. Later this week, we should have everything up that we'll be doing in the next quarter. So, yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Are we ready for that? Yeah, we're ready. We're going to do our Advent candles, and last week we lit the candle of hope, and so this week we'll be lighting the candle of peace. And Matthew will say a few words about peace. And then we're going to light 7 of the Hanukah candles also. The 8th candle will be lit tonight. This is the last night of Hanukah. And you know the story it represents are the 8 days that the oil burned in the temple. They were trying to the temple had been desecrated, and so the tradition is to burn candles for 8 days to purify the temple, and they only had oil for 1 day. And yet a miracle happened, and the oil burned for 8 days. So that's what the whole celebration of Hanukah is all about. And as I said last week, if you really want to learn more about Hanukah, Rabbi Ted Falcon in Seattle is just fabulous. And you can go on the web and listen to him talk about Hanukah. And it would be well worth your time to hear him. Okay?
Okay, welcome. This week we light the 2nd candle. You know, it's funny, last week I said I'd have this memorized. Well, I'll admit that I didn't get it memorized. But let's say this, and let's focus on this for a moment. This week we light the 2nd candle of Advent, and we'll do that right now.
Yeah. So the tradition of Advent is that last week was the first week, and a candle is lit every single week until Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. So that'll be the 4th candle. And next week is what's called Gaudete Sunday, and Bienvenido will be playing the beautiful piece he played Friday night at our medieval event. By the way, wasn't that a great event? Yeah. Someone saw Larry come in and they said, "Oh, the King Arthur is here." So thank you all for your support and coming to the event and all the hard work that went into it. And so anyway, that's the tradition of Advent. It's a four weeks before Christmas Day. Yes, go ahead.
We kindle with hope. We long for light to come to our world, to break through and reign with compassion, justice, and peace.
And leave one unlit. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much. So now we have a lovely song, Spider Web Lost in the Wind.
Time gone, time lost, a desert we walked on, an ocean we crossed. Time slips away like a spider web lost in the wind. Blue skies, rainbows, the day slips away, who knows where the time goes. It just slips away like a spider web lost in the wind. One day I felt sorrow slip down in my heart. By afternoon it had drifted away. I saw the plant flower, I watched the fruit grow, as I saw time slipping away. Wind blows, the rain comes, our road they once drove on that's now far away. Memories slip away like a spider web lost in the wind. A warm day, it's too warm, we feel the change come, feel it more every day. A safe life slips away like a spider web lost in the wind. One day you'll feel the wind grab you, you're floating away on a breeze. There's no way to know where you'll touch down. You're on a spider web lost in the wind. You're on a spider web lost in the wind. You're on a spider web lost in the wind. Lost in the wind.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So we're starting a whole new month in December with the theme Journey of Becoming, which is sort of the end of the year, the idea that we assess what's happening. The message today is called Surrender is Action. And we know we're nearing the beginning of this year and starting a whole new cycle. And so the standard way we kind of view surrender is to visualize probably some situation in battle where a white flag is raised and the people who are surrendering to an opponent have clearly lost the battle. And perhaps surrender is a weakness or a sign of loss or defeat. And that may be the way the world sees surrender, but at a spiritual level, surrender is an active verb, and it requires a conscious choice to move from control to the divine. And we surrender not into chaos, but into divine order. So we enter this state of conscious union. And in the Hanukah story, you know, the oil lasted for 8 days after the Jewish people were rebuilding the temple. So instead of trying to stretch the oil or impose their will, they surrendered into the situation and found that they had all they needed. Hanukah is a story of surrender. From the Science of Mind perspective, when we surrender to the presence and the power of divine love within, like Matthew was talking about, being able to accept that love, then the inner and outer can become one. And one of the early stories about surrender in the Bible is the story of Jacob and Esau. And you remember that Esau was the oldest of the two sons, and when their father was old and faltering, Jacob disguised himself as his brother by putting on woolly hair so he would appear to be, because Esau was hairy. He had lots of hair, a beard. And the tradition was the oldest son would get the inheritance of the estate. And so because his father was dying, he came to his father disguised as Esau, so he would get the blessing and get the whole inheritance. And of course, the father is fooled and gives Jacob the blessing of his resources. And Esau, of course, the real inheritor of the estate, is infuriated, and for years they're estranged. And of course, Jacob goes to establish a household away from the family, and he is unable to let go of his material mind. He really is after just the material wealth until he comes to the brook of Jabbok, where in the night it's said that he wrestled with an angel. And often the angel is referred to as the higher self or the God self. And in the course of this struggle through the night, Jacob says, I won't stop struggling with you until you bless me. And so Jacob is blessed after breaking his hip, I think, as the story goes. He is blessed with a higher understanding, and he realizes that he has to make peace with his brother Esau and make amends. And this is what you would call surrender. Jabbok is a Hebrew word meaning emptying of the ego. So it's about a pouring forth of life, and Jacob gives up his idea of attachment to material possessions to transform his consciousness into a loving relationship and peace with his brother. So after great struggle throughout his life, because he really had to work hard over the years after he stole his brother's inheritance, Jacob lets God in more deeply. And in this case, until he obtained the breakthrough that he had at Jabbok, he pretty much lived on the surface of life. So he let go of control. He let go of ego, which is an acronym for edging God out. And he became closer to the angel of the divine presence of love. And this isn't easy to do. Carl Jung, in a book called Alloy, says, when an inner situation is not made conscious, it happens outside as fate. So our intention is always to look for the best in people, but some people drive us nuts. Why are we so affected by other people? The answer is Velcro. If anything inside us can be disturbed by the traits of another human being, something inside of us is hookable. Think about that. Somebody with traits will show up in our lives and will be hooked like a matching piece of Velcro. David Letterman once did a TV show where he put on a Velcro bodysuit, and he jumped off a springboard onto a wall that was made of Velcro. And so he hung there spread-eagled, helplessly hooked from head to toe. So that's how it works with us when we still have Velcro inside, when we still have all those little hooks. And the matching pieces will always show up, and we get hooked. We get angry or bent out of shape, and it's the Velcro we're carrying inside. So there's really a purpose to our misery. We need to find out the hookable that's inside of us. We have to surrender. And these Velcro patches that are inside of us are all the places where we have negative, aversive reactions to people. The people who bug us reveal the inner work we still need to do on ourselves. So we can begin to use people that drive us crazy to find the Velcro patches within us and surrender by de-Velcroing ourselves. So we're here on earth to surrender all the Velcro patches within us, to return to becoming an instrument of love. And it takes a lot of perseverance. But when you surrender your issues, they stop showing up. So you might have a busybody neighbor who bugs you. Don't mind her. De-Velcro yourself. Surrender your negative reactions. And really, pretty soon, these people will stop showing up in your life. And you may have had the experience where you're always waiting for the other shoe to fall because that had been your experience in the past. And then one day, the shoe stops falling. And you realize that something has happened that has transformed your life where you're not experiencing the same negativity anymore. If you're getting nervous and anxious about a particular situation, like the event on Friday night, Mario taught me this. All you have to say to yourself is, in 3 hours, this will be over. And the fear goes away. It's amazing. So in the book, which is called The Transforming Power of Crisis, that's written by Robert and Jane Alter. Robert Alter is a psychotherapist who turned theologian, really. And he's one of the most amazing writers on the Bible. And so he starts his little chapter with the lines from a Grateful Dead song called Standing on the Moon. And it goes, I see all of Southeast Asia. I can see El Salvador. I hear the cries of children and the other songs of war. It's like a mighty melody that rings down from the sky, standing here upon the moon. I watch it all roll by. Yogananda says, change yourself and you'll have done your part in changing the world. So everyone must change his own life if he wants to change the world. But Robert Alter tells the story of one of his clients. She was a wealthy woman, age 59, who was going to go to El Salvador for 4 months to live in a peasant village. And she told him, I think I could live there the rest of my life and give them all of my money. I'm also so overwhelmed by the poverty that's there. I give and I give and I give, and it hardly makes a dent in it. How can I find peace with all that suffering? And what she really meant to say was, how can I surrender to what is? And Alter came up with a brilliant answer to her question. He said there are 4 ways of going to El Salvador. And they're all true. First one is we should devote everything we have in our lives, time, talent, energy, resources, to alleviate suffering in the world. And number 2 is the best thing we can do is change ourselves. And number 3 is our efforts to improve the world won't make an iota of difference. So to know how important you are, just put your arm in a bucket of water and pull it out. The impression left in the water is how important you are in the world. And number 4 is the world does not need improvement. It's only your limited understanding. Everything is perfect because it's held in God's love. And so, he said to her, when you go to El Salvador, go with these 4 understandings. They're all true. God bless you for going. And these are the 4 ways we can surrender. Finally, since the interactive Van Gogh exhibit is coming to Tacoma, opening on December 18th, I'd like to share a little bit about his life history you may not be aware of. Van Gogh started out wanting to be a minister. He was just like his father. His father was a minister in a small church in a small town in the Netherlands. And so he wrote letters to his brother Theo about God. He said, I think the best thing, or the best way to know God, is to love much. Love a friend, a spouse, something, whatever you like. But you must love with intelligence, with strength, with lofty and intimate compassion. And one must always try to know things in a deeper way, better and more. And so he was ahead of his time, not only with his art, even though he only sold one painting in his entire life, and he produced over 2,000 paintings. But his universal philosophy about God did not include church dogma. Van Gogh preached sermons at Methodist chapels in England. He was then sent as a missionary to the dust-covered, impoverished coal miners in the Borinage area of Belgium. And this ministry to the poor, his ministry to the poor, was not known in the United States. Everyone's heard of Van Gogh, seen his paintings reproduced on prints and coffee cups and beach towels and T-shirts. And today his work sells for preposterous sums. His sunflowers went for a tidy $39 million recently. So in 1878, he went to Borinage, a mining district, and he worked with the poor as a lay minister. He really believed in supporting the poor, in helping the underprivileged. And he was only 25 years old. He'd attempted to study theology at the University of Amsterdam, but his application had been rejected. And the tour he did as a missionary to England and Belgium, he ruffled feathers in the mission when he gave away his nice lodgings over a bakery to a homeless man and moved to a hut near the poor miners where he slept on straw. He was such an advocate for the poor that he was dismissed because his activity supposedly undermined the church. He had no choice but to turn to art. His subjects were those he tried to help: fishermen, peasants, farmers, and weavers. And his social views were too modern for his time. Mary Oliver wrote a poem in 1990 on the 100th anniversary of Van Gogh's death, and the poem was called Everything. And she wrote, "No doubt in Holland, when Van Gogh was a boy, there were swans drifting over the green sea of the meadows, and no doubt on some warm afternoon, he lay down and watched them and almost thought, this is everything." What drove him to get up and look further is what saves the world, even as it breaks hearts. In the mines where he preached, where he studied tenderness, there were only men, all of them streaked with dust. And for years he would reach towards the darkness. But this is what would finish him. Not the gloom, which was only terrible, but those last yellow fields, where clearly nothing in the world mattered or ever would, but the insensible light. Van Gogh surrendered to it. He wrote, "I have terrible lucidity at moments. These spring days when nature is so beautiful, I am hardly conscious of myself anymore. My paintings come to me as if I'm in a dream." So we all know the story of his cutting off his ear, and he had a very severe mental breakdown when his brother Theo withdrew his financial support and his friend Gauguin, his roommate, announced that he was leaving and moving to Paris. So he felt totally abandoned. He had a red beard, loved wine and absinthe, and loved to paint outdoors. He was a human being, like everyone else in the room, but he suffered with depression And even during these times, he would go out into the fields to paint the beauty all around him. And he said he would experience this great lucidity in the meadows. The light and the beauty was for Van Gogh the deeper meaning behind God. He had given up the punishing God, the judging God. Instead, Van Gogh's theology changed from stern to compassion, from dust to light, as he broke his heart over the plight of the miners and went to something higher, an unnameable God that is love, and even the light that painted the colorful world around him. Vincent van Gogh surrendered to a higher idea of God, beyond the rigid teachings of his day, beyond the university that rejected his application to be a minister, beyond the board that fired him from being a missionary to the miners. He let God in more deeply and surrendered to a reality and participation with the unknown. And he began to see with the eye of his heart. Ernest Holmes said the soul must make a complete surrender of itself to spirit. So here are 3 keys to opening yourself up to practice surrender. One is to trust in the divine's goodness. Seriously rest your faith in a higher intelligence. Can you see how you've become the unique being that you are because of your unique experiences? And the second key is to loosen your grip. Whatever you're holding on to tightly, whatever is causing you to tighten, let it go. Just try it. Turn it over, surrender it. Ask for help from your friends and colleagues, from God, from ancestors, from gods, from the universe, or whatever feels right to you. You're not meant to walk the path alone, because the truth is you're not alone. Listen to the clues and practice it in the physical. For those of you who practice yoga, doing the child's pose puts you in a place of surrender. And a lot of the research they've done on these physical positions show that kneeling actually puts you in a state of surrender. But let's just try something together. If you just close your eyes for a moment and think of something in your life you'd like to surrender. Perhaps it's a negative character trait of getting angry before you have all the facts. Or maybe it's you make assumptions, or it might be your impatience. Perhaps it's your memory retention. Perhaps it's a health issue. Are you ready to surrender that? And so I'd like you to stand for a moment. Stand up and just spread your arms wide with your chest out and look up. And in your mind, say, I surrender, and surrender that which you have chosen to surrender. Okay, you can be seated again. So, actually, let's say those words together. I surrender. So the next thing is to take action. Universal law and love can open the door, but you have to walk through it. And noticing the signs is one thing, and acting is another. So we have bodies to act and do. And so whatever your intention is, you need to set it and bring forth your vision or idea, because the world needs your passion. Humanity needs your unique talents to bring what's in your heart into form. And the key is letting go, releasing our grip, surrendering our need to figure everything out. We have to turn our attention to what is working and notice the synchronicities and not write them off as happenstance. So when we reorient to the signs and the synchronicities that are all around us, we will witness a new state of co-creation with the universe. So you begin to see the flow. You begin to follow the path of least resistance. You surrender to the beauty that is all around and the beauty that is you. Then you, like Vincent van Gogh gazing at a sunflower or a starry, starry night, in surrender can say, "Oh, it's everything." God bless you.
She's got to get herself all turned on.
I'm ready. I can see black clouds will gather. The relentless rain will fall. The fields will fill with water. I will shelter through it all. I will stand beside the river as the relentless rain comes down. I will wash away my sorrow, the dark visions that I've found. I will stand alone in a cold, relentless rain. I will stand till I feel whole. Stand till I feel warm again. I will endure relentless rain until the rain has washed me clean. The relentless rain will comfort me. I will feel free once again. Now the sun has found its way outside black clouds that fill the sky. Still it's rain that I am yearning for, as evening gently nudges nigh. I will stand alone in a cold, relentless rain. I will stand till I feel whole. Stand till I feel warm again. Yes, it's rain that I am yearning for. I would go there once again. was then. The relentless rain will find me. From my shelter I will see water running past my window, meeting grasses and the trees. I will stand alone in a cold, relentless rain. I will stand till I feel whole. Stand till I feel warm again. I will stand till I feel whole. Stand till I feel warm again. Thank you.
So it's time for our offertory. If the usher would come forward. We like to say the blessing in the program. So together we say, divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
invite you to close your outer eyes again with me. And just know that that music is just harmonizing within each and every one of us, whether here or within the sound of my voice. And I know that God, peace, love, and joy, which is all the same thing, that is absolutely everywhere. You find it in nature absolutely everywhere. And also in everything and everyone that is in the entire world and the universe. It is God. It is the energy of God. We are the energy of God, each one of us. Because I know it is everywhere, I know it is within me and within everyone within the sound of my voice. I know that this same energy, this same God that gives and is given to is just part of us. And so when we ask or state, affirm who we truly are, that we are that love, we are that joy, we are that peace, then we know, we absolutely know that it heals us on every level. It heals us physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually. So whatever your healing need, it is done. It is done when we recognize the truth. And so I release this treatment into the universal law where I know it is done. It is done, and it is so. And so it is.
I usually preach dancing when I sing this song because I think waltzing is good for what ails you. I keep saying all you have to do is count to 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Don't need a partner. Don't even need to stand. You could do it with your feet on the floor. As I sit tonight by my fire, I gaze at the stars. The sky and the objects it holds seem so near yet so far. I can imagine that you, like the stars, could be near. Fire, my dear. Wish you were here,
waltzing under the stars. The stars are so bright, the sky is so clear.
How I wish you were here. Tonight the stars fall and trace lines of light in the night sky. I wish their beauty would last as they raced past my eye. Our time together seems brief as I think of you, dear. As meteors race, I remember your face, and I wish you were here.
Wish you were here, waltzing under the stars. The stars are are so bright, the sky is so clear. How I wish you were here. Wish you were here, waltzing under the stars. The stars are so bright, the sky is so clear. How I wish you were here. The sparks from the fire seem to leap out to join the stars. My heart leaps with them to follow the sparks clear to Mars. Somewhere tonight with my hopes in the world of my dreams, we'll waltz the wish you were here, waltz through the stars and we'll sing. Wish you were here, waltzing under the stars. The stars are so bright, the sky is so clear. How I wish you were here. Wish you were here, waltzing under the stars. The stars are so bright, the sky is so clear. How I wish you were here. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve and Kristi, and God bless you all. We'll see you next week.
We have